Okay, that's the episode. Thanks for watching, and remember, follow us on all our social medias for more stuff coming up.
Yeah, I'm in my own lane. 4-3 reppin', yeah, my gon' bang. It's talking shit, but they ain't speaking on my name. I'ma make this money, I'm about to free the gang, yeah. On my 3 on the back, these call me Stephen Curry. Gotta make this money, gotta make it in a hurry. Do it for the gang, so my don't have to worry, yeah.
So welcome to this episode. Today we got Olumide Adelodun. He is a player from Calgary, Alberta. Currently plays at University. Yeah. So, introduce yourself. Tell us what you're about.
So I'm Olumide Adelodun. I came from CTAWEST with Adam and Lance. They guided me to get to where I was. That's when I started my journey. I'm sure to talk about it.
Yeah, so we're happy to have it's a big person to have on the podcast, because I think a lot of kids can kind of relate to your story, right? And it's like a guy that did it, and they kind of see the stuff you need to do. So it's not just like you hear what you need to do, but now you can actually see what you need to do.
Well,
right?
yeah, like we seen, like you just finished your first season, your rookie season, and then you came back and you gained how much weight?
15 to 20 pounds.
Yeah, like you came in, like you're honestly standing like 2 to 3 inches taller. Your shoulders are 2 to 3 inches wider. You look like a man, right? And not that you weren't working hard before you were working, right? But it's just different.
It's a different level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of get into like when you arrived as a freshman, how it was like.
Well, we should talk about like what it was like trying to get to you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was, man, being in Calgary, especially being in Calgary, it's hard. The difference is between Toronto and here is that they get to go and play in front of coaches. I feel like coaches don't come up here or even look to even the west side of Canada for hoopers, and that's all. We have tough hoopers, we all know that, but it's just hard to get seen. And I was there in Calgary, no looks, just playing here, traveling, not playing in front of coaches. But it was just, I would just say the hardest part was just getting in front of coaches.
Well, even Eastern Canada, like Toronto doesn't even take Western Canada seriously, let alone like American does.
Well, and that's what's crazy, because people take for granted what Adam Huffman is. Because really, like what you're looking for a coach that can develop relationships and vouch for you, right? And that's what Adam was.
Adam was everything. He called me, and then I was like, he's not like any other coaches that are in Calgary, I would say. He's just a lot different. He's real honest, I would say. When he speaks to you, he's not going to give you nothing that isn't true. He's going to tell you the truth. And I would just say his word is the truth. When you trust someone, you know he'll get you where you need it.
Oh yeah, and it's the same with Fofo, right? Because Fofo wouldn't have got D1 without Adam, and likely you wouldn't have got D1 without that relationship.
That's for sure.
And that's what I think people overlook when they're looking for a prep. They look for this prep that has like the biggest hype videos and they play the biggest competition. But really, like what you should be looking for in a prep school is a coach with a track record and a good resume.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah, like at the end of the day, if you're a kid looking to get to a certain level, if I was going to prep, I would look at that coach's, that program's track record. Like, it's pretty simple, right? And you just go from there. Like in my opinion, right? But to go back to what Ian says, it's just like I'm a football guy. I'm not a basketball guy. But to me, it's like common sense. Like if you want to go Division I out of Western Canada, it's a no-brainer to me. Just link up with Adam Huffman. It's pretty simple.
I've been trying to.
Like I don't understand why it's so hard for people to kind of put the pieces together, but I think it's pretty cut and paste. But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've been trying to tell everybody. There's a lot of coaches that everyone says, we'll go there, but it's not real. Like, and you can see, like, they go, in CTA, they'll place everyone on that team. Like, everyone, you'll look at other teams, they're going, say, some other, not really any place that's really beneficial for the player.
if they even end up going in there, right? Like I know kids that played prep, and in my opinion, if you're playing prep and you don't end up at some post-secondary institution, then it's like, and I might have the wrong perspective of prep, but isn't that what the investment is? You invest in prep to basically get that money back with the scholarship. Right?
Did you have a hard time? Like, did any coaches or anybody give you a hard time about playing prep?
I would say there's a coach saying that if I come here, he can do this for me. With Adam, it was just, I can do this for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like,
Well, Adam didn't make any promises.
he was just like, I will try it. It was for you if you commit. You know what I'm saying? But if it was like, with other coaches, it was like,
Dangling the carrot.
I would do this for you if you come out. I actually care about you to get something, so I'll do this for you regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how many preps are recruiting you up?
It was like, I would say, obviously the ones in Calgary and then Toronto, all that. It was just, I just didn't get really good vibes from any of the coaches for real. Like, it was
Yeah. It just seemed like they needed you
Well,
to like.
and the other part is that you're like Toby was around us.
Yeah,
Like your
exactly,
brother
yeah,
was around.
exactly.
So I think there was like you
Already.
got a good vibe
Yeah,
from Adam.
yeah.
And then you already kind of knew it. Even though I knew you were scared of us.
Yeah, no, I was,
Don't even lie. Don't lie.
I
Don't
was
lie.
never scared.
Look at him
But
sit down.
slightly worried.
I was just, trying to chill.
No, you just didn't want the smoke in the wing.
I was trying to chill.
It's okay, you're not alone, but you're here now, right? You're here now. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And then so now that you've been to that other side, like, because in my opinion, I don't necessarily think that there's that big of a difference in competition or difference in like skill set or anything. Like you said, oh, there's hoopers in Calgary.
Yeah.
There's hoopers in Calgary that are D1 caliber players.
Yeah.
But they just don't have the
Attention, exposure, all that.
they don't have the
Well,
exposure.
it's everything too, right? Like, obviously you gotta have the grades, you gotta have the right connections, you gotta, when you, like, cause you went for a visit, right? Like, you gotta put all the pieces together, right? So, and to go D1 out of Western Canada, if you're missing one of those, like, it's a non-starter, right? Like I told everyone, like, realistically, you're what you consider like a total package. You're an international kid, you're over 6'5", you have good grades, you have a coach that has a connection.
Yeah, let's talk. So what was your GPA out of high school? What would you say your percentage average was?
I probably had a 87 or
Yeah. So that so of all the guests that we've had on the show so far, they're all playing high level athletics. None of them have had below, say, an 85.
Yeah.
Like Avery had a 3.5. Noah has a 3.7. Fofo a 4.0. Right? Like and that's what I
Okay,
think guys
but
don't.
with one caveat, right? So DJ came out of prep, and the reason he didn't go D1 is because of his grade.
Yeah.
And we had him on the show a couple episodes back. But then he even said himself, this is his own words, it woke him up, and now he is focusing on his grade.
Yeah.
So the other side of the coin is, so we've had guys on who all had good grades who are successful. The guy that didn't have good grades got a setback, right? So it's like, there's no like, the blueprint's there, right? Like it's a pretty simple blueprint to follow, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like, yeah, what was a day in the life like?
It was wake up, school, right after school. We finished school around like 12, I would say. Practice, 12 to 3.
That's on court?
Yeah, and then we would lift before practice, and then 12 to 3, and then obviously after we have your own personal workout with the coaches and all that, and then back to sleep, and if you want to go back to train on your own.
So how many courses did you take?
I took 6 courses. I took 6 each semester.
6 each semester. And you're done by noon?
Yeah, because I'd have 3 online, 3.
What time is class starting?
Yeah.
So you have like 4 hours of classroom and then 4 to 5 hours of class.
So then, okay, so class, then you got a workout in,
Yeah.
then you practice, then you went to eat dinner, and then after that, you got to go do your homework study, but then,
And online.
Yeah, we had study hours.
so study hall, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then on top of that, I guarantee like the really good players are still going back to the gym and put an extra work in.
You have to go.
So that's 6, basically you can say mandatory activities every single day. And none of them are easy, right? So,
And that's why we get on guys who go, dialing in their regimen and their routine as early as possible, and then also dialing in your fitness as early as possible so you can mentally deal with the capacity and capabilities you need to get through all those things.
Once you have
a bit of resiliency, right? So because if you went your whole life, never had a routine, never got held accountable, trained when you were in the mood to train, and then you go D1, like you're gonna quit the team. Like it's like no human. Maybe there's some out there. I don't know any human being that can flip a switch like that. It's not. So it's like, if that's your goal, you should start building those habits from like grade 10.
Yeah.
Right?
And then what was it like going to a school that had just competed in the NCAA tournament, had just had a guy drafted to the NBA? What was it like dealing with those pressures? Or like those?
It was high. They were making sure they were going to go to that tournament. And every day it was film, precise, make sure you'll ask you outside film what does this guy do well, but just to make sure you're paying attention. It was just they were real sharp on everything. There was no soft off days, none of that.
So it's just competitive environment. And what people don't realize is Ohio is isn't a competitive. They have every sport.
Yeah.
Right? It's tough. It's a tough.
Well, that
place.
state, man, that's one of the best sports states in like all of North America, right? Like,
because football is crazy.
Yeah. Ohio's like full of dogs, man. I think it's like probably Florida, Texas, Cali, and then Ohio's probably like the fourth. Right?
So what was the culture shock like?
I would say with my team it was really easy. Like they were so welcoming. It was not like I felt like I've been on the team for a long time. That's why I feel like I got really lucky with Ohio. It was just really easy.
So one thing we talk about is we always talk about when you're being recruited to go where you're valued, where you're wanted.
Yeah.
So you like during the recruiting process, you felt recruited, like you were wanted.
Yeah, it was also different because of COVID, we didn't have that playing year. So they were like, we see your grade 11 film, but we didn't make sure obviously you're still where you're at. So it was like they obviously wanted me, so they wanted to see what I could do in that one scrimmage I had. Luckily, it all panned out.
So when you went on your visit, you actually scrimmaged?
Yeah, that was basically, it was like almost like a trial almost.
And you did what you needed to do,
I
right?
had a workout in the morning, took it back to the hotel, and then we played our scrimmage.
And how did the scrimmage go?
It was, in my head, I thought I didn't do that good. I felt like I was really nervous because I was supposed to be on a visit with another guy, but I felt like when I was playing, it was just like me. Because obviously it was me, everyone watching what I was doing. I started off a little shaky, but as it kept going, I just was like, I need to do this. Like, it's not another option. But
I think
so. Be yourself. Yeah.
For me, seeing the way you play and like being around you and watching your development, personally, I think your best attribute is your decision making. Right? Like I don't think you're tall, you're athletic, you're all those things, but I don't think that those things are what make you stand out. I think it's your decision making. And so I'm imagining that when they watched you, they were probably picking up on the decisions that you're making, not the outcomes that you were having.
He said that he said it was really my defense that was like.
Because I got asked that, like after that signing, like people that didn't really know you, and I haven't really seen you play too much. I saw you in high school, I saw you at our runs. Like, yo, like I don't get it, like what Olumide was just like athletic, he's banging on everyone, what is it? I'm like, to be honest, man, I'm like, unless you have like an eye for basketball, you can't really see what makes him like good. I remember in our runs, you'd be passing and the ball be hitting guys in the head because like they just didn't see what you saw and they were open, right? And I'm like, wow, this kid's that young. We're playing against pretty good players, right? And I just seen how in a whole scrimmage you didn't dunk once and you can dunk with ease, right? And your team still won. You didn't really take that many shots. You were facilitating, like, and I'm like, damn, this kid's good, man. At this age, because usually kids your age with your ability, it's because they're athletic, and then you got to teach them how to play basketball. Where like you're hooping and you're not even using your athleticism really yet, you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of try to explain to people, I'm like, no, if you don't have an eye for ball and you walk into a gym and Olumide scrimmaging, you're not going to be able to, you're going to be like, well, where's the D1 kid? Well, now you look like D1 kid, big now, but.
And the difference too is that like a lot of the scrimmages we had, it was when your brother and the UFC guys came.
Yeah.
So you were playing like as a
like
grade 12.
guy. Oh yeah.
You were playing third and fourth year university guys. And like Mambi's no joke.
Like national champion level like guys.
Yeah, Mambi hit the game-winning shot, national championships to win the national championship.
And in my opinion, like you and Seal were the two best players on the court, right? Like,
And then again, Seal would have had a different outcome had he had his grades lined up.
yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Because in reality, like Seal's more athletic, a little bit taller, and like a little bit more of I would say a pure shooter, and then you're a decision maker. So I think that you guys both have elite level skills and abilities, and the only difference was you had your grades sorted. But so it's. I'd like to, it'd be easy to say that you could put all the grades were sorted because of you, but in reality, it's like, could you have not had your grades sorted? Like, what would your parents have said if your grades weren't sorted out?
Man, I don't even know.
You don't want to think about that.
They were just pushing me. And
That's what's up. I love that.
And academics is really important. Like I had 2 D2 offers. If I didn't have my deal, they would have sent me to D2.
Yeah, they wouldn't try to do a prep.
They wouldn't have let me do it. Academics is really important. That it being important, that made it important.
Well, like part of it's just like because you're Nigerian, like
That's the culture.
and they grew up in Nigeria. Nigeria has like such an educational based society, right? Like
Yeah, they want you to start university on time, right?
I don't know anyone that's immigrated from Nigeria that doesn't have a degree.
It's true, and I love it, man. Like my mom was like I wasn't the best student. I had to like mature into it, but my family was the same. Like it was a non-starter. Like education or find somewhere else to live. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that was it. And when you're younger, you don't really understand it, but it's like it opens so much more doors, right?
Yeah, well, it just lines up your discipline.
Yeah,
It like sorts so many things out.
Do stuff you don't like to do. Bro.
So obviously your parents were kind of paying attention as the year was going on, but what did they say when you came back? Like when they saw the difference?
They come back from Ohio. They were like, obviously they were like, you got bigger, man. But they said I got more mature. I would say like being out there doesn't make me like there's a lot of different stuff that goes on in here. And me being, it's a college town, so you see everything. It's like small, but a lot of things.
It's a party town.
There's
Lots of universities and colleges in that area.
You see what happens.
And people get caught up.
Yeah, and it happened on some players on the team. And you see it, and then like you see them, and I can't be like that. You have to make sure you're learning.
It happens. At the end of the day, university is a lot of fun, right? But and it's almost harder because there's 2 sides of the coin, right? Like a kid like you, like I would say you were a really good kid. You got your grades dialed, you didn't get in any trouble. Like you followed the rules, so to speak. And there is a lot of kids like you that get to university and they're finally have freedom, girls, parties, drugs, and they fall off, right? And it's just too much for them. Like the fact that you're able to keep it all together and still be a well-rounded kid, like that's huge too. Because I want you guys to have fun.
Yeah, that's
right? But again, what would have happened if you would have went to university and you would have fallen off?
I'd have been home.
It would have been ugly. It would have been ugly with the parents.
Yeah. It's true though, and I tell people like, I have my moments where I was like at university and it was like that crossroads. And no matter how old I was, man, my mom's voice was just like echoing in the back of my head. And that's when you like snap back into like,
You can really tell they raised
that foundation, right?
Oh yeah. I got this Nigerian lady I work with all the time. She's always saying like Nigerian sayings. She always says like life no balance. Your parents say that?
I think my brother says that.
Life no balance.
My brother says that.
I think it's funny because it's like, man, you could have, you and someone else could be exactly the same. Everything's the same. It doesn't mean you're going to get the same outcome, right? But you were lucky enough, and you were talented enough, and you were driven enough to really like get after it. You want it.
Yeah, and you check like the baselines. Let's be like, at the end of the day, if you just have grades and like you link up with Adam Hoffman and you work hard, like
it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, you can hoop. Yeah, like let's not like get that twisted. You're 6'5", 6'6", and you can hoop. Like you're probably like I try to tell people who ask too. I'm like, honestly, by grade 9, you were already looking at Olumide. Like that might be a D1. Like there's no D1 kids don't just pop out of a closet. You know what I mean? Grade 9, grade 10, you already knew you were kind of like.
Well, I was
right?
when you were in grade 10, you played on the senior team.
Yeah.
So when you were on the senior team, I was coaching at Follow the Cone. And we had to set up 2 practices in a row on breaking down how to stop Olumide.
Exactly.
And not only because it was like, how do we stop Olumide? Because a lot of their offense flows off over through.
He makes stuff easier for guys. He give them, yeah. So I tell people that too. I don't get it twisted. Like Olumide can fucking hoop, man.
Yeah.
Like everything else aside.
You didn't know that we did that. Do you remember the game I'm talking about? We played. It was like first round of the playoffs.
Oh, it was that Bob, right?
It was at Bob. And so every
These
year,
are your goggles, though, right?
No, oh no, I
but every year, Father Lacombe plays. No matter what happens during the year, first round of the playoff, we play at Bob.
Yeah.
Always, for some reason, we always play at Bob. And we're like,
Bob's
hey,
a career ender.
so we were like, fuck, we're going to Bob again. And I was like, so me and Cooch sat down, we figured out how we could do this and do that. And it was like, okay, we need to shut down. I'm not going to give the secrets away because I know Cooch is going to watch it. He's going to be mad if I give the secrets away. We had to shut down one part of the offense and then make it so that you either, when you got the ball, you were on an island, or you never got the ball. So we did that. And I remember that game, we won by, I think, 4 or something.
What year was that?
But remember that game?
Who's in grade 12?
It would have been the year before.
Nate.
Nate and Paul.
Oh, I thought you guys won that year when Nate was in grade 12.
No, we didn't win. We lost to Western.
When Nate was in grade 12. No, Nate was in grade 11.
Yeah, he was in grade 10.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
was in grade
Okay.
11. And I think Paul was in grade 12.
11.
Grade 11, okay.
Yeah, because you guys won the next year.
Yeah.
And then the next year we played Bob at Lacombe. It was the first time that we ever played Bob at Lacombe. And
Weren't you like cramping up and stuff?
No, that was Paul and Paul.
yeah, and so that game,
You don't realize, man, they don't pump as much air into that gym.
that game we were like, hey, we need to speed the pace up.
Yeah.
I was like,
because
if
the
we
crowd
if
and
we
yeah,
speed the pace up all
And that
game,
gym's small, right?
by the 4th quarter, we're gonna be able to kind of continue.
It felt like everyone was on top of you.
Yeah.
And then you guys were all having leg cramps.
It gets hot in there, man.
And that was when the year we had Ken again.
Yeah.
Like Ken, I love Ken
It
again.
gets hot, man. The McNally gym gets hot. Small gyms, right?
Yeah, I love it. Formulating systems in high school.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like I talk to some parents and like I'm not trying to crush kids' dreams. They're talking about Division 1, this and that. And like you kind of have an idea by like junior, right? And even DJ, he's playing JUCO. We had him on a couple earlier episodes. He confirmed it. He's like, I was dunking in grade 8. You know what I mean? Like, so there are certain measurables. I'm not trying to kill anyone's like dreams, but you have to hit certain measurables to be realistically in the ballpark to play Division 1 out of Canada, be international, all that stuff, right? And then on top of that, then you have the academics, the Adam Huffmans, your parents, all that stuff. Right?
Yeah. So if you could go back, like you go back in time and like whisper something to young, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to just stay positive. I feel like I used to just always get down about not having anything. Like I feel like I remember one time we went to Edmonton for a tournament and I had like a 30-point triple double, and I think it was UBC was watching, and I was like, okay, he was talking to my coach after, and I was like, Coach Shane, and he's like, he didn't see that. I remember that. I was like, I heard about that. Yeah.
You're like, what do I gotta do?
And that was my grade 11 year, and I just stayed positive.
You didn't really have any offers.
Well, and that's what's hard about being an athlete is like we talked about with football, is like walking with faith. Like you have to have this like dream, you have no idea how you're gonna get there, how you're gonna make it happen, but you still have to like grind every day.
That's
And I think you guys are kind of sped up too, which like we really try to slow kids down because I think we're in a fishbowl. Yeah, you're good. We're in a fishbowl in Calgary, right? And you guys are sped up. You have to have offers. But I wasn't even thinking about offers in grade 11. And I'm like, damn, this guy's thinking about offers. Like grade 12, I had like a UFC walk-on, and I still wasn't worried. Right? I'm like, I'm gonna go play junior, develop, and then the offers will come. But I know kids in grade 10.
After.
Yeah, after. I know kids in grade 10 that are worried about offers, right? So it is tough, right? When you don't have the context and like, yeah, grade 11, man, like, yeah, like, I don't know. That's so young to be worried about offers and stuff, but it all worked out, right? And you're a kid that like, I know people were probably telling you, but you would have been taken care of no matter what. You didn't have anything to worry about, right? right? So
And so what was the biggest adversity you dealt with when you got to Ohio?
Oh, I would say,
Like, was it homesick? Was it like new country? Like, what was
it was mostly on I feel like I wasn't too homesick at all. It was just adjusting to how fast it was. And also learning how to be fast and slow things down. Because I feel like the way when I first got out, I was just like really quick.
yeah, you're out of control.
Yeah, like you just got to. And I'm still learning how to do it, but just pacing myself while I have the basketball. That's
Yeah, and then changing pace when you
yeah.
need to.
When I first got, it was like I felt like I was turning the ball over every time I touched it.
So you were going 100 miles an hour all the time.
Well, that's experience. Like there is that like almost like poetic moment where like the game just slows down. It'll happen. It's all of a sudden like people watching you, like you're going 100 miles an hour to them, but to you, you're just like in your mode. You're like, yeah.
But that's like learning the playbook.
Yeah.
That's like learning that your
opponent,
teammates'
learning your
tendencies.
body, like everything.
Yeah, like learning where your teammates like to catch and shoot, where they like to catch and drive.
Yeah.
Learning and we talk about discipline equals freedom. The more you lock into whatever it is you're doing, the more the opportunities on like open up. Right? So like, and when it comes to like plays, people are like, oh, this coach won't let me play my game. No, like learn the offense and then learn where you can get your shots.
It's all the same, man. Like like a coach's system or play calls or what you're like. At the end of the day, it's basketball, it's football, it's all the same, right? So just figure out how to play within this system, and then it just becomes basketball, right? This system, and it just becomes football, right? So.
And then, what was something that you did, like just for you, like where you like what was a hobby you had outside of basketball, outside of school, to just like ground yourself and just be you?
It was just basketball.
Like it was hard, right? Like you did at the time.
Well, year one, you were just surviving.
It was just, I feel like I don't really do much outside of it. Even when I was here, like it was just basketball.
You weren't hollering at shorties. You weren't like going for runs. You didn't have
But I'll
like.
tell you what, second, third, fourth year, when you get more comfortable, you'll be more efficient, and you actually will start finding time for more social.
Yeah.
Like it will happen. So I wouldn't worry too. And it's right, freshman, you're just trying to survive, right?
It's funny because like, so your brother's friend's Philly. He went to UBCO.
Yeah.
He said year one, he was like, I had to like. Remember he came back, he's like, I had to switch it up because I was getting too many girls.
No, year two.
Oh, yeah,
he
year
went
two.
back, yeah. And he said he had to move off campus because it was too much.
Too many girls.
But I'm gonna say, that's the thing. Like when I first went to university, same thing. You're just trying to fit in. Like I grew up in Northeast Calgary and stuff. I'm like, man, like how do I fit in here? But then you just start to get comfortable. Like, you get more efficient, you get more done in less time, and you start having fun. You probably saw that with Toby too, right?
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, he was like just a Uber.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
He was in here every day, like. And I noticed over the years he kind of started to like live his life and handle business, right? Chimsy, guys like that, like those guys they're all gonna graduate, like they're taking care of business, but they have fun, right? So and you'll get there.
But you had to have something. You had to have some type of release. It was like it had to have
You're
been
just in
like
the bed,
like you had to, like you liked eating granola bars. There had to be something that you did.
You're just in the bed praying, man.
It was just
like
I was,
Moreau.
I was just wanting to play. I was just doing anything I could, but
What about the vids, man? Don't be
You
ashamed.
played video
bro.
games. You didn't have like
Nothing.
you didn't have like a sitcom you watched.
Did you at least watch like sports movies?
I would watch games.
Yeah.
I was watching NCAA now is a lot different. Like it's like I feel like I'm watching it, seeing it, and being actually playing it is actually so different.
So who was the toughest guard you had to have?
Mark Shields, he's my arm point guard. I guard him almost every practice.
And he's the hardest guy you ever had to guard.
Yes, he's
And so what was it about him?
he's just like I said, it's that pace and being quick at the same time. He's just so good at and boom. You know what I'm saying?
low and go.
And he's 6'1". He was, and I feel like I've never really struggled to guard anyone for, but he was everything.
He's in shape, knows where he's going, confident.
Yeah. And he always would make that right read for sure.
So another question I have for you, because we talked about it a bit, and you said you guys played against Kentucky.
Yeah,
Kentucky.
yeah.
I thought that was a cool story because at the end of the day, you're a great athlete, like you're a world-class athlete. And you said once you went to Kentucky and played them, it was like a whole nother. And you realize it's like,
and it was like watching them, like they would just run up and down like it was nothing. It was like, and our team was just like jogging, like getting tired, and they're just running up and down. Like at halftime, one of their players was running sprints. Now he didn't even shoot a single basketball, and he had a double on us. And it was just.
yeah, and that's like NBA level.
So was that the hardest team you played?
Yeah, because they had their player of the year,
Yeah.
Oscar to shoot with. He's good.
So what did you kind of learn from that experience you did?
That I don't even know. It was just you can always get better. I would say there's always gonna be better.
So it's kind of humble.
It was like you might think you're here, but there's someone else that is right here for sure.
Yeah. And then so how close were you guys to making the NCAA tournament this year?
We were doing good. I would say we were doing good, and then we were getting top 25 votes, and then we just hit some type of slump, and then we started losing. But we thought we were going to be good and win the tournament, our own tournament. But but we couldn't.
Who won your conference this year?
Akron. They almost beat UCLA in the first round, but
Well, that's the thing, man. Ohio is like, it's a conference, is an area that has dogs.
yeah,
They're dogs.
They recruit a lot of local guys, right? Yeah.
You'll see Ohio. Yes.
Well, because like New York is right there,
Yeah.
Philly's right there, New Jersey, like Boston, like that area, they can pull from so many areas.
We played Buffalo. We beat them. They've been pretty good. But
So then going into next year, what's the game plan? Is everything mapped out?
I just need to get. In my mind, I'm like, I need to get to a point where I get so good that there's no question. I feel like last year there was like we could play him or we could play, and there wouldn't be a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want it to be like we have to. There's not. He won't bring the same impact.
I love that. You know what I tell kids all the time? They're like, we all have a bad coach, but whenever I hear someone always blaming a coach, I'm like, get so good that you take the decision out of the coach's hands. Like they have to play you. So I love that. Like it's all what you can control. You're not worried about coaches, who they're recruiting, who's returning. You're like, I'm gonna get so good that I have to be on that floor. And I love that, man. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's sick. I think you're gonna have such a good experience there as well. Like it's just gonna be such a good couple of next years, and then who knows what'll happen for that. Right? You've got 4 more years, really, to finish off a degree.
Man, I've seen the development you made in 1 year. Like, if this is your trajectory, bro, like, man, I'm excited for you. Like, this guy came back. He even came in through the back door. I'm like, this guy's standing there, and I couldn't really see your face because of the sun. Like, yo, who's this big kid? There's Olumide, yo, because I guess the GPS probably to the back, right? But yeah, like, man, there's a big change. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have said that. Yeah. Right? So, I think you're bigger than Toby now, right?
he's a big guy.
Toby's thicker, but he's taller.
Oh, no, man. Don't catch him. Tell him, bro. Don't let me catch you slipping, bro. I don't want you in my room when I come back.
Don't be trying to wear my kicks.
Don't wear my kicks, bro.
So that's funny though, because when he would play for us, I was on this guy about his kicks all the time.
Well, they had no soul. Like the bottom was like.
Shoes right now.
You can see his toes, man. So why? Like you got shoes that you don't touch. Like you got good shoes you don't touch.
When I get shoes, I just wear them everywhere. Like it's like I have to. I can't be wearing a lot of shoes.
You just wear them until they're nothing.
Until they're done, and then I'll keep wearing them.
And then I'll keep wearing
Go to
them.
the next one.
Because remember I was like, yo, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe for this guy's shoes.
Yeah, you can see, and I think there's a hole in your sock too, bro.
So you're just a humble guy. So we should talk about the routine of the off season. Because really, like, you're only in Calgary you were here for a week.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, the season ended, and you got to be back when. Like, how big of a break did you get between the end of the
You
season?
told me you had 2 options.
We had two. So there's they call it summer 1, summer 2. So summer 1 isn't mandatory. You don't have to go back. So if I chose not to go back, I would be here from May to middle of July. or middle of June, right? But it's like, what am I really going to be doing here? I can be down there, getting extra credits for school, being with the team, knowing, you know what I'm saying, and coaches seeing what I'm doing every
It's again like making it so that like, you want to show them your work ethic so that it's not a question. And you want them to invest in you. Like you invest in the program and getting better, then they invest in you.
Because they're human beings too, right? Like if you're just around them more, like and you're doing the right things, like they're gonna like it, right? Like it's human nature.
Oh yeah,
right? So that's awesome. Because I think that's the other thing too. Like what falls short in Calgary is the off season. Like in season, everyone's hyper focused. They want to get better.
Off season? In Calgary, there is no off season. They go high school club. Then they go summer vacations, club.
That's what I'm
high
saying.
School.
Like there's no not off season. There's no development season, right? Like when you're playing games, these kids are hyper focused, messaging us. How do I get my vert? How do I get my shot better? I need to get bigger. I need to get faster. But as soon as they're not playing games, they don't care. They don't realize that's the most important time. Like you need at least, if you're a serious hooper, you need minimum 5 to 6 months of development without playing games.
Per year.
Without playing games, without traveling, without like skipping days.
But you need competition to keep your timing and your skill and like your vision and all. Like you can't just do one-on-one with a trainer and lift and that's it. Like there has to be some level of competition, whether you're going to like an open run somewhere or you're doing like situational offensive stuff. Like you have to continue that stuff, but it should be in a controlled environment, and then it should be
dialed in with direction, progression, and like I'm not saying you can't just have fun. Don't get me wrong, but I think like true off-season development still hasn't caught on in the city, and I don't think kids really realize how much they're leaving on the table by not embracing.
But the thing is like, so we get looked at like we're fucking crazy people when we're telling people like, if you want to go D1, this is your regimen. And they're like, oh, what if I don't want to go D1 and I just want to play? Then just fucking play. Like we're not for you.
But don't come and tell. Not even D1, man. If you want to play university in Canada, like I think Hoff told me the average age in U sport now is like 23 years old. So you're telling me a 17, 18-year-old high school kid that can barely bench his own body weight, not conditioned, has like a 65 average, so it's not a great student.
Not coachable, right? And you're just gonna step into a university and be successful day one. Because how coachable did you have to be to go to Ohio?
You have to. They'll say things to you that you
just gotta eat it.
For sure. And then they won't repeat it either. So once they tell you, you need to.
They're not repeating shit.
You gotta hear it and put it in action.
Like if they have to repeat it, that might be the last thing they say to you, to be honest. And like some coaches might give you a warning and be like, I don't want to repeat myself. If they continue to repeat themselves, like you might not be there anymore. Like real talk, right?
And then, so what's your goal in the classroom for this next year? And then what's your goal with your team for the next year?
I would say classroom, I want to keep a 3.5 or above, and then I also want to do some different.
And then what program are you in?
I'm in sports management and business, and then with the team, I just want to be someone that they can look to that can bring an impact for sure. Not just showing that it's stubborn because someone is tired. You know what I'm saying?
And that's still a good look. That's something we didn't really bring up. As an international freshman going from Ishapoburn to a legitimate like Division I program with a real schedule. And you said, how many games did you play?
Like 35, I would say.
How many games did you get in?
Oh, I would say 13.
That's
10,
big, man.
Yeah.
That's big,
crazy.
bro.
It's crazy.
Like that's huge.
It's crazy.
Like I thought you were just gonna sit there. I didn't think you'd take off your warm up once.
Yeah, I got too hard.
I got to. I was down bad.
Bro, that's big, man. And it comes back to it. I tell people, at the end of the day, a man can hoop. You gotta be able, like, at the end of the day, you gotta be able to hoop.
When you make good decisions, obviously they can trust your decision making.
Yeah,
Right?
that's big, man. So,
So
what? Are you trying to be a starter next year? I want to hear you say it. You say it out loud. I want to be a starter.
That's what I'm going for sure.
Yeah, man. So is there anything else that you want to kind of talk about? Anything else you want to bring to the table? Any shout outs you want to give?
Oh, shout out my brother Toby. I'll say
I
that.
think he's in Atlanta right now,
Yeah,
right?
he is in Atlanta.
I've seen that. The man's them.
Yeah, all the
Phil
Nigerian
down there?
mans.
Phil's with them, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Phil,
probably. Oh,
Phil,
Yeah,
because it's
that
late his
crew
birthday,
kills
right?
him.
They've been together for a while.
That crew kills him.
I can't imagine what it's like when you're together. It must be so loud.
They're loud. Even when they come out downstairs to the basement, you can hear them from upstairs.
Well, because you and Toby, like, great kids. Well, you guys have very different personalities,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah, Toby's a little more. Toby's a guy in the gym, locked out on the ground, singing Meat Mill to himself.
Well, man, because Toby, like we started training Toby what 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and then like Philly, that's when we started training him. I coached Kenny in high school at Western.
Toby's one of the originals.
Yeah, and like they were all like that crew. They've been together for a long time. They're all so similar, and they're just like they're a good group of guys. Like none of them are waste men. Like they're good guys. That's awesome. And then so like, do you have a crew that's like that? Do you want that, or do you want to be a lone wolf?
I'm more about myself. Like I wouldn't say as many. I have three or four of us, but it's not like we don't. They go everywhere together. We don't, but we know.
Yeah.
Type for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
What's up, man?
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you.
What's up? All the best.
Okay.
Okay, what's up? This is Jerseys to Crowds. It's a new movement, so look out for some content coming soon.
Yeah, I'm in my own lane. 4-3 reppin', yeah, my gon' bang. It's talking shit, but they ain't speaking on my name. I'ma make this money, I'm about to free the gang, yeah. On my 3 on the back, these call me Stephen Curry. Gotta make this money, gotta make it in a hurry. Do it for the gang, so my don't have to worry, yeah.